Hey guys, welcome to the Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Kieran.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Mod Wolf.
Hello.
That's not in order.
That was not in order.
You always go this side to that side.
Sorry, I don't know, I was looking at the TV.
Speaking of the order of things, we should probably address the fact that nobody's going anywhere near Chris. Now, the reason for that is that this space is reserved for Mod Ghost, who's fetching something for us and will be coming back in a minute. So it's not like Cootieville or whatever.
I'd ask for a number of how many Q&As I've hosted so far, and this is the first time I've ever forgotten the questions.
But you haven't got the question.
Yeah, this is a really awkward bit of time.
Well, we popped down early because we wanted to see everything. Everything's all fancy and new, everything down here. And then I'm like, we're 30 seconds to going live, and the questions aren't in my hand. Haven't printed them yet.
I guess we'll have to talk about the Inferno for a few minutes while we get going.
We should, in fact, talk about the Inferno. Mod Ghost, I've sent him off to grab the questions, so he should be back any second. Let's see how fast he can run. We're missing a chat. I don't know if we can get that set up.
I want to see them.
I'd love to see the foreheads.
Literally one job.
You had one job.
There's a PogChamp. All right, nice. Better stream. All right. So the Inferno, we obviously proposed something to come from Zaya, and what the community decided was that they didn't want that something, or at least I should say Reddit and not the community. They're the foreheads. They've instead proposed something entirely different.
It's also been made very clear to me that it should be called Basalt rather than Brimstone because that's better and it's the favourite igneous rock of the player who tweeted this. He had his friends tweet it too, it must be real.
Right.
Anyway, so firstly, the original reason it is on there is that when we proposed the Inferno last year, everyone had the feedback that we want this to be a bigger piece of content. We want it to be part of Zaya because it makes sense to be part of the Tasakal race that was originally proposed with Zaya a few years ago.
And that first draft was proposed as a Fight Cave expansion, a fairly simple reuse of the wall kits, stick out a fairly quick expansion there without too much dev time on it. And the feedback was as Kieran says.
So the Tasakal race was sort of redesigned into the Carlith race, which is what we've decided to call them instead of Tasakal. But yeah, obviously a lot of feedback is proposed we put it into ZAR. So there's a lot of discussions going on in the office about it with the various people involved. And we will have another dev blog up tomorrow to discuss what we've actually decided to change, if anything. And we'll get back to you, basically.
So at what point do you think we decide we want to completely change everything and change everything we're offering when it comes to Reddit? Because just because somebody made a thread that did get a lot of traction, it is only Reddit, and it is only one form of social media. It doesn't necessarily represent the entire player base. How do we...
Yeah, this is why we don't just say Reddit suggested this, it had a lot of upvotes and think we should do it. I mean, sure, it's a way for us to see an idea and see what they propose. And we discussed that on its own merit, regardless of Reddit as well. But it wasn't just Reddit I saw this from. I had a lot of tweets about this. And yeah, I mean... Obviously, it comes down to us as well. We discussed the various ideas and what it can offer us by adding into the ZAR area versus adding it onto Zaya. There's a lot of questions to answer, and that's something we're still discussing. But a dev blog will be out tomorrow to talk about what we've decided.
Can we get some PogChamps in the chat from Mod Ghost, who must have just run quite far to a printer to grab us the questions for the stream?
Which is funny, because our building is not actually that big. It's just very hard to get around during all the building works we've had done.
Well, the printers have moved around. I'm not really sure where the nearest one is.
If you go down that other staircase, you cannot get here anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't know. If you go down that left staircase...
Oh, yeah, it cuts
it's like
off
blocked
there
off. You have to go through... You can't get through the atrium because there's a big door there now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to walk through the canteen, I suppose.
There must be...
We're doing some building renovations. Anyways, we have actual questions. We were just discussing the Inferno. That being said, should we get on to the actual questions?
Why not? Because we have them now.
Yeah? Okay. I'm not sure what's going on, but we're getting there.
He was just, like, I can't reach Kieran to do it, but he was, like, doing this. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, okay, here we go. Campfire says, with all the portals that are available in a player-owned house, can we get one condensed room that would act as an abyssal nexus where players could swap out a single portal or open an interface which lists all of the available teleports?
Yes, I liked this. I was really quite keen to do it, although making a new POH room is not a quick thing. And after we'd done the construction update in August last year, which made this kind of thing possible in the first place, at that point I really kind of needed to knuckle down onto raids and stay there for months. Then we had Quality of Life month. If we can fit a fairly chunky medium project of this size, then that would be great, although it's not the only one players have been asking for.
Right. What about the players saying easy escape? Do you think this is too easy?
Well, given that POH can have lots of teleport rooms, you can generally get whatever you need in there anyway. The awkward thing is that portal rooms have only one entrance, one door, which means that having a house with lots of them means you end up wasting parlours left, right and centre, or hallways. And to be honest, that's not the kind of challenge that we want you to overcome by clever gameplay. That's just a pain in the wassno. So I'm personally all right with all the things that we offer being... that we offer them already. So letting us offer them without you having to dedicate huge numbers of corridors to it is all right in my book. On the other hand, it may not pass a poll.
Okay. I seem in agreement for the most part from what I can gather through that. We are gathering questions from the chat, by the way, guys. If you have any questions, just at RuneScape. Good luck, Mod Jed. Have fun with that. He has a follow-up question asking, can we get a spirit tree patch in the Kazari jungle? Karazi jungle. That's the one.
I've seen a lot of suggestions about this because obviously the only way to get in there is still by going through the heavy brush,
Excuse me, Mr. Knowledge.
Is this
we
wrong?
have an agility shortcut.
Have you?
In there
We do.
now. Yeah,
Wow,
we do.
I'm way off. No, never mind then.
How could you not know that?
I'm so sorry.
Dare you?
Well, I was
you
just
even
shut
a
down by
J-mod?
Kieran. My
You
God.
come onto the old school team. You come onto these streams.
RS3 mod, fire him right now. Sorry. Okay. Where's the agility shortcut?
It's on that big
Is it on the-
slopey thing, not that far from the Shiloh Village entrance. I forget
Okay.
exactly where I put it, but it looks dead until you've done the quest. And then, thematically, once the influence of Nezgiched is removed from the jungle, it looks alive and you can climb it.
Okay. Well, my argument was going to be it's very annoying to get through there. But if there's an agility shortcut already, I'd probably argue that I think there's already a pretty decent way of getting in there outside of going through the annoying brush that's there.
It is very annoying, Brush.
I'm still completely open to having something else in there for you.
Yeah.
You know, the code for that was bizarre. It's got two kinds of choppable thing in that annoying brush. And they've got different random numbers set for different hatchets for the two types of it. And one of them went a step further and had the first swing have a different success chance to any subsequent swing. So if you kept clicking and it was always the first swing you were doing, then I think you had a lower chance than if you just kept going. And it just had all this complexity to it, probably because somebody typed it all wrong.
It's one of the most bizarre parts of the whole game, I find, is even as a player, it feels like it's not right. Like, how many times, firstly, it fills your inventory with logs you don't want. And you spend ages chopping, and then it comes up and says you can't get through there.
And the click boxes are weird as well. Like you click on the tree and it walks you on like the stump, so the stump doesn't grow. But then you click on a fern, but you'll accidentally click on the fern to your right, and you step to the right instead of going forward. And you're like, I didn't want to do that. So you have to get another tree and get another log in your event. It's so stupid.
So when I first played this, like, we're talking RS Classic at that point, this was the ultimate quest. It was groundbreaking stuff. And, you know, I died going, not through that brush, obviously, I died to Nezgiched, but I died doing the quest. It was exciting because you were really shoving your way through dense foliage. And in RS Classic, the ability to make some gameplay that felt like you were bashing your head against a tree, that was quite clever of Mod Titan for those days. The conversion to RS2, on the other hand, maybe could have benefited from a little more time.
Well,
That didn't
in
really answer
regards to the
did it?
question,
Yeah, we can stick a spirit tree in there, but there's
Okay,
other ways
there,
of getting in.
Yeah.
The spirit tree code ain't too bad for expanding, by the way, if anyone does want to do it.
Lovely. See, we could just say if the community wants it, sure, but it's
They don't
a bit more
like that.
interesting to give a bit more
Yeah.
answer, isn't it?
Well, when you ask for quick-fire answers, that is what you're going to get a lot of.
I mean, it's pretty cool as well. You know, 99 farming. Aren't you allowed infinite spirit trees? Am I wrong? Don't say I'm wrong twice in a row.
I think we did say that we just take the cap off once you got 99 farming on the grounds that we had added the other one into end.
I'm pretty sure on this one that you
Yeah.
can have as many spirit trees as you want when you're 99 farming. I might have said fire making though. But farming.
I have many pretty sures on this stream, but I typically don't say them out of fear that there's like there's a little bit of a chance they're wrong, and then boom, Reddit. Why have you grabbed the question from the chat asking for a golden rake?
What does the golden rake do? Other than rake?
Well, we did give him a golden apron.
Fair point. It will just have a different animation when you're making your
Aprons
weeds.
already had no purpose, bar getting you in the crafting guild.
We have, of course, given them the ability to get rid of weeds from their patches now, so a rake is less useful than it was.
Quite.
You got wield a rake, so you got to show it off apart from doing the anim.
Maybe you could get Miscellanea favour much faster by using a golden drake in Miscellanea, because the citizens will be so impressed by your bling that they favour you more.
Well,
Jed typed that I should be wieldable in the notepad, but spelled wieldable wrong, so let's not make it wieldable.
he's still got it wrong. Could we be able to talk? You've moved the question. I was reading that. Could we be able to toggle the Zulrah Resurrect to instead teleport us out to safety? This would be a great benefit to players that disconnect while fighting Zulrah.
I like that. I like that as a feature. I don't know whether people would want it. Is it more helpful if you're fighting a legit to stay in rather than get teleported out?
So if you're a hardcore iron person, then you benefit from, something goes wrong, you're on the outside, and you probably cared more about it. If you're not, then your stuff was pretty safe anyway on the grounds that the priestess gathered stuff and looked after it for you. And we've had some negative response to taking the risk down even further on a boss that's got a safe item holder.
That's the way I'd see it.
But we can, of course, do it.
It does seem like for a normal player, this would be a nice little benefit. To a hardcore Iron Man, this would be incredibly helpful.
I think it would be annoying as a normal player, to be honest.
Does making Zulrah easier for hardcore Iron Man? Is that a good idea? I don't know.
Well, it's a one-time use, isn't it? This
per day.
Per day.
Oh,
I think it's per day.
Oh,
could be wrong.
Oh,
this is just all over Reddit already.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
The hardcore iron person presumably wouldn't go back in if they'd used it for that day.
Yeah.
And they might want some kind of warning before they go back in case they've used it and forgotten, because the daily reset is not always obvious.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next
Speaking
question.
of which, if we do go ahead with their suggestion of putting a clock in the game on, say, the clan interface, then they will much more easily know when the daily reset is, because it can tell them
I like that idea.
in terms of the game's clock, which is, well, at that point it'll be midnight on that thing, they'll know whether it's happened or not.
There is a question in here somewhere asking for an in-game clock, so...
Yeah, it's not the first time either, that's why I got the answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a really helpful feature.
I like it, especially on the clan interface, because, organising things with other players seems a good place. It's not in your face all the time.
It's nice to have a centralised time as well, because we always say GMT, UTC, or game time.
Yep.
And I imagine that would show game time, not your personal time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you want a clock that shows your personal time, get a clock.
I'll look at the bottom right corner of your computer.
My favourite part of Zulrah is watching people do the walk of shame.
Oh, with nothing on.
So, I mean, that puts me off this feature a little bit.
All right, moving on. We're going to get through some of these. Matt says, what chance is there of you guys making some new quests, whether it be a batch of 3 to 5 to bring some life to Zaya, or perhaps a follow-up to an unfinished series?
Them things ain't all that quick to write, especially if it's like continuing an unfinished series where you might expect a fairly chunky quest. Like, it's just bringing a bit of life to Zaya with something, small, like the Desert Treasure Ghosts, or that thing what Kieran did involving the gauntlets.
Soulbearer?
No, that's the thing what I did involving the Soulbearer. Kieran did the thing with the Family Crest gauntlets.
Soulbearer is another good example.
No, I was giving that as another example.
see.
I wasn't saying that's what the ghost thing was.
Oh, sorry.
So
Thought it was knowledge
oddly
thing.
enough, with quests, every time they're brought up, they receive a ton of support. However, I believe, looking back at the priority poll for RuneFest, they fell quite a bit lower than we expected them to.
They're higher than ever. I mean, higher than they've ever been, but they're still substantially below PVM and skilling updates.
So it does seem like there's a vocal minority. I think we've proven, however, with Monkey Madness 2, that we can do a really epic, awesome quest that they're going to love.
The only thing being, it took, 2.5 months?
Exactly, and you can't expect every quest
That
you
was a
make now.
Grandmaster quest, though, wasn't
Exactly,
it?
yeah.
it's
So
huge.
to make 3 or 5 small quests, I mean...
So 3 to 5 quests that are the size of Cook's Assistant, we can knock that out fairly quickly in, not that many weeks. You want, on the other hand, to continue the existing storylines, like knock out another dwarf quest. Well, if we followed up those dwarf quests with something the size of Cook's Assistant, I suspect the players would invite us to shove it somewhere. But if, on the other hand, we followed up something that fits the storyline, then we're talking the amount of dev time we had to put on the Monkey Madness 2.
Mm-hmm. I think if we start on Zaya, then we kind of start with a fresh slate as far as storyline goes. So pretty much the scale that we've set as a precedence on Zaya is probably the Architect's quest. That's like the
Yeah.
real
We've talked a lot about adding maybe even 2 to 3 Zero quests at once before. And they would be, maybe not as low as Cook's Assistant, but you're talking small, only vaguely related quests where it is just help out this dude who's got a problem with his sheep, right? It's that sort of thing. And it gives purpose to Kourend. Because you look at that building, you know that was used for this quest.
Yep.
You know that this person needs help. And it's a more interactive world because you're actually helping out these NPCs. And we know it's important, and we know quests are a big part of RuneScape. They've always been one of the RuneScape's biggest unique parts.
What do we
And
give
you see
with
the
them?
amount of quests we have in game, and I think we should try and get them in when we can. But it is no easy undertaking.
What do we give as a reward for a new quest?
That's the thing. Like, it's all about managing expectations as well. Like, if we say we can do a quest in Zaya tomorrow, which we probably could if it was the size of Cook's Assistant, like I said, but like, what do they expect from this quest? Do they expect it to be that size, or do they also expect the reward to be something called like Monkey Madness nature, which is insanely large?
Take, for example, the Piscavilius area.
Yes.
There's cooking ranges in there, quite a lot of them in all the houses. That's befits a house. However, the bank is a fair bit further north. Now, if you're, say, an ultimate iron person and you don't really want to have to go a very long way with all your anglerfish, then you might really like it if there's a range in the bank. Well, banks don't always come with a range. Obviously, we can map one down just in the same way that banks have, bank booths and a pole booth, and now a cooking range or a fire in the middle of the floor, because that's what banks should have. Or we could go down the other route of letting you unlock something on the side. A guy just outside the bank has a fire, a permanent fire, but he won't let you cook on it unless you do him a little favour first. Or maybe you've got to light his fire with your amazing fire-making skill, what has a use these days. We could unlock utility features of this nature through very, very small quests. Cook's Assistant would actually be ideal for something that lets you use a thingy like that.
Completely.
I like that.
That's what I know about that.
All right.
And it's the stuff like the quest journal. It really adds to how much development a quest takes. The quest journal particularly is a pain in the arse.
Yeah, like that time we launched those mini quests, the mini quest journals, they took blinking ages, even though there was no new content there at all. I hope you guys like them.
I really like that feature. It gives such visibility to that content. So.
The players have suggested one small favour, part 2, I see in the chat. Doric's Quest Part 2.
Was this specifically for quests on Zaya, or was it just quests in general?
In general, I'd say Zaya definitely receives the most
Okay,
support
fair
for this
I mean,
stuff.
I think Mod Tom H tweeted out the other day that he wants to do Mystical Mystery like continuation, but on Zaya,
Yeah.
The Resurrection.
of some kind.
It doesn't make a ton of sense to have.
But hey, we did get another quest there, didn't we? Obviously, it was originally a Halloween event, but players liked it that much, they wanted it as a permanent quest.
Which is quite a tribute to his design.
I mean, I think like ultimately with quests on Zaya, I'd just like to see one quest for each house with like a story arc that goes through all of them.
Yeah.
That are reasonably small in size, but it's just not viable with the amount of time that we've got in the scheduling at the
It would
moment.
be nice to introduce the heads of the various houses.
That's it,
yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, you can't go upstairs in the tent. Lord Shazian does not wish to be disturbed. You can't go into the tower. Lord Arceus does not wish to be disturbed. I don't remember where Piscavilius dude is. I think he and his boat have buggered off.
I think that's exactly it, yeah. I think it was a woman that was head of Piscavilius, I can't remember.
You could do something where they're kind of all in a bit of a fight, and you have to bring them all together to like each other.
It's entirely possible we never said who runs the Piscavilius house because we didn't have time to build the boat
Yeah,
for them to be
that is
sitting.
yeah.
Right. Let's move on from questing. 2147M says, can we implement a self-induced account lock? This could be via a unique code that we are issued one time only to the registered email, would allow us to lock our accounts if we think they've been compromised. Kind of more of a...
Was I
Is everybody dying? Like,
How do you unlock?
I don't want to say it anymore.
How do you get it unlocked? The usual way?
so I think he said it'd be temporary after a few days or so, but it sounds like a very paranoid request. But I mean, it seems more something for player support or mod web than maybe we could answer.
So you think you might be compromised, so you type in this code and it locks your account permanently until you type it in again? Is that what you mean?
Not permanently, just for like 4 days, I would guess. Of course, if it is permanently and then you're requesting player support to unlock it for you, that's going to put a lot more work on them, and don't know how long They could guarantee it would be until you could get it unlocked.
Yeah, I mean, if it was permanent, I can definitely see a scenario where it's like, oh, I've lost whatever it was I needed to be able to recover this account.
yeah.
And then we have to go,
that's
sorry.
the issue.
I mean, it really just
Like-
comes down to account security. Ash, you at one time last year gave a very good account security tips and tricks. Do you want to go through that again? By any chance?
Hello. We don't close-up cam these days. I have to move. Yeah. So, your password is the main thing that protects your account, but these days there's a lot of stuff gets on your computer and listens for what you're typing. Your password is ultimately something that can be sniffed out by keyloggers, remote access trojans, whatever. And you need a second form of security, because ultimately you are probably going to get something on your computer that you don't want there. Not just from things you might download from Runescape, but things that other people on the computer might pick up on websites that they browse when you're not looking. Honest. And passwords is not enough. So you want a second form of security. We provide the authenticator. At that point, if you've got a second device that's needed to get into your account, like your phone, it becomes a lot harder for anyone to just find out they know your password and can get in, because they'd still need to get hold of your phone at that point. So that's harder. Of course, they can try and get into your email account and disable the authenticator that way. And if if your email account is just secured by a password, then again you've got the exact same problem we started with, because passwords can be sniffed out. Fortunately, most email providers these days, like Google Mail, Gmail, they have second forms of verification themselves. So if you've got that, then people shouldn't be able to get hold of your email account, again without stealing your phone or something like that. So make sure you've got... Account security is hilarious.
Yeah, sorry.
So make sure you've got a second form of authentication, and make sure you've got colleagues who don't, do this, because it's really weird. He's probably very happy, I think. I think I'll stop. It's alarming.
People who have bad security is no laughing matter.
Yeah, we're laughing at those with poor security.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Sorry, have you got another question, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about something else that isn't funny. Because this is
So,
weird.
Authenticator, two-step on your phone.
Oh,
There
sorry.
you go. Make sure you don't use the same
Bank pins
password for
now.
other sites.
Bank pins are
Bank
a
pin.
lot easier to have now. The World Hop feature, you don't have to necessarily have to re-put your bank pin in. So it's less frustrating to have one. So there's no reason not to give yourself a bank pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. It isn't all entirely clear on the bank interface, because I was a bit short of space for writing things. But if you choose the option that keeps it unlocked for 5 minutes over logout, and then you log in from a different IP or computer, the bank should lock itself immediately when it detects you've come in from a different IP address. So that's a little better protection than the text necessarily makes out. I do recommend it. It should be all right.
All right. As for the question asking about the self-induced lock, not sure about that one, but I will run it past Mod Weth to gather his opinion, as he's probably the best one to give an opinion there. Moving on to the next question then.
Sorry, one sec. Matt just said in the chat that player support are working through loads of player suggestions, and I'll try to work out if there's any they can go ahead with.
Wow, you grabbed that from that chat. That's impressive. Well done. Mint says, why does the new proposed Fire Cape not give a prayer bonus?
It was sort of it was in exchange for like how much it was gaining in the other areas. But having seen the feedback, I think we might go and offer that to prayer bonus.
I think
there
it's
as well.
fair. Like, considering the difficulty,
It is
obviously
meant
it
to be
isn't
the
made
next
yet,
one.
but this Inferno is going to make the fight caves look like a joke, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be incredibly more difficult. It makes sense that the reward is that much better.
It's gonna make the fight cave look like a Disney cartoon or something compared. Right. This is the next level.
I mean,
The animation of
maybe you
Disney
like
cartoons
Disney,
is
I don't
actually
know.
a lot better than the fight caves.
I just drew that exact comparison in my mind.
All right.
We've all seen my design for that final boss. I think people are going to have a hard time.
Next question, Mo says, can the woodcutting skill cape teleport you to the woodcutting guild?
Is it currently Nest and Geo?
Well, last time the idea of a woodcutting guild teleport came up, we ended up putting it on the skill bracelet, I think it was, which seemed like a good place at the time because, you know, it's a skill thing, it teleports you to guilds. We can have another one, though, on the skill cape. It's not that far from one of those minecarts, but, you know, skill cape perks tend to go down well. We wanted to gather a whole lot of skill cape related perk requests and pull them all together for a themed poll.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think it's a fair one. Generally, the skill kits have got the teleports to their respective guilds.
And Lord knows access down there ain't the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
The question might actually be whether it could take you to the inside of it rather than the outside, nearer the redwood tree, thus making it better than the thing that already exists.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Follow-up question here asking, can you allow woodcutting clue nests to go into your inventory, just like mining and fishing?
It's weird, this one, isn't it? Because nests obviously have a behaviour that exists, which is dropping on the floor near the tree.
That's
Yeah,
how
can
nests
they
work.
can they either last longer or actually go in your inventory?
They can certainly last longer. At the moment, they're dropped for a deliberately short time, so they become a benefit for people who are paying attention. We could, of course, help those, presumably AFKers, who would like it delivered to their inventory so they're guaranteed to keep it by making this change they request.
And the clue ones in particular, we could make take it longer.
Yeah,
Well, you
they're-
know,
they're not
the same
tied together at all.
Surprisingly.
So,
We did at least add that sound effect to them.
Yes.
turn your sounds on.
Would you like to do an impression of it?
Tweet, tweet.
Good.
Or, yeah, you might have a particularly large bird inside of a nest sometimes, so just keep an eye out for that.
Yes. What's
Would you like to do the impression of that?
slim chance of...
Caw-caw.
The armadillo crossbow sound effect.
There's a slim chance...
Don't tell them, you've
it does something
ruined
else.
it!
Oh, they know it. It was said so in the update thread.
Well,
from
I
the
was
first
guessing.
one.
We haven't actually done
Okay.
that.
It's pretty...
Oh my
yeah.
god.
It goes tweet, like what in...
There's a 1 in 250 chance it does the armadillo crossbow spec. It's ruined now.
I guessed that at random. Nobody told me.
I said in the, I thought it's one of the first replies in the update thread on the forums this morning. Like, I can't wait to get that sound effect.
Ruined.
Ruined. Oh wow.
Come on, Jay.
Unforgivable.
What?
You should
Impersonate
have pretended I didn't know.
Caw! There you go.
That is really unpassionate.
Yeah, because they're just going to type ha-ha anyway. I could go caw, caw, and then you're going to type ha-ha.
If you did it right, they'd be typing about ears.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Okay.
No, no.
XX420. Can we get more Slayer creatures in the catacombs that are actually killed? I see no need for 3 hill giants, moss giants, and greater demons when the blood-veiled black demons and dark beasts are always the ones that are packed.
Yeah, I think we could replace some of the hill giants with more blood velds. I've no issue with that whatsoever.
We are not short of hill giants in this game.
All right. Has no gains says confirm or deny a potential Scotizo, however you say it, update involving said boss, head for Slay Helm, recolor, and again that boss pet.
Certainly not denied, just not done yet.
It's amongst all the million other ideas that could potentially be on a poll, and unfortunately that one's just not been chosen yet.
I mean, people are obviously stockpiling the totems and not killing it in hope that we'll release it. So
we spoke about this on the Q&A some time ago, and I believe we said we were in favor of the idea, but we never went through to say, let's actually go ahead and make this happen.
Well, that's because we all then said, well, let's make these 50 other things happen.
Right.
And we did.
That's fair.
would it go on the Slayer poll that we're planning on doing, presumably? Considering it's a Slayer helm recolor, drop the head.
It really depends how much graphics work is needed and how much graphics availability we've got with the other things going on.
That would get me, because we've already got the Slayer helm recolors anyway. I could just select the colours in the editor and then recolor
So
them.
not a very big one then.
20 minutes, I reckon.
And then a head
Nice.
drop, so just chop off the NPC head and
Yeah,
drop model.
That's a good point. I forgot the head drop as well, so half an hour to get it all done.
That'd be
And
an
then
interesting
some
thing to watch.
programming work to actually make the thing
Yeah, I
work.
think it's a bit heavy at your end, to be honest. Yeah.
I haven't scoped that one.
If you were if we were to go through with this, that sounds like a great thing to stream in the background. We've
Yeah,
been
if
talking
you
about
like.
for the next time you want to do an art stream like that, we can actually have your progress on the TV back
You
here.
have like 8 hours to do that.
Well, I won't be here, but you're welcome to. Have we got any questions from the chat? No, none coming through. he's still filtering through. He'll grab one. Don't worry.
Shuffle option for RS Music. Unfortunately, needs engine.
I saw somebody in the chat actually ask for a pet cape.
It follows you around just as a pet.
Like flaps.
I imagine that more as that collectionist cape idea.
Someone in the chat asked if we're going to have a pet for Inferno.
I think that's pretty likely.
Yeah, okay.
In terms of pet care, it would be very RNG focused. I don't mind that, but I know that people get a little bit upset when they go like 16k dry at Zilliana. And
Realistically, we're not going to do a pet cape, but a way to show that you have collected all of the pets might be a more interesting approach.
If you build that pet list in your POH, it actually does.
yeah.
Okay. And you can use that to show off to other players.
Other players can look at the pet list and see which pets you have and which ones you have not got.
Right.
I think it will even show them whether Probitor's looking after it for you.
So you've got your bragging
I think
rights.
currently 0 players have all pets.
Wow.
They are incredibly rare, and it's not the sort of thing where we're going out to say, go and get them all.
Yeah.
And then try and encourage that, because it's not designed that
There's
you
already
go
a game
and
we have
get
to go
all
and
the
get them all.
pets.
You're Ellie, okay, it's very important. You don't just get a title, you get it golden in that game.
It is an insane achievement, though, to pull that off, because it isn't designed that you go and get them all. So,
But people do it.
Somewhat relevant. I've got a question on
certainly does,
here somewhere. I can't find it. Oh well. Somebody asked for the ability to receive titles, I believe via drops or what have you, to title their pet. And then, of course, there's the discussion of titles for actual players as well. The ability to name your pet and/or titles for players. What do you think?
I think the engine feature required for that is a fairly significant thing, and so of all the things we get out of that team, I'd rather have some of the other ones.
I'm also not a big fan of titles personally. I just think that they take up a lot of room. They get bit, you know.
The funny thing is, pets is good for the bragging rights. Titles on pets, even more bragging rights. The funny thing, though, is that you can't right-click on other people's pets to see what the title would say.
you can name your wily cat.
You can name your wily cat.
It's absolutely redundant, but you can.
Extremely.
And you do it via this horrible interface where you've got to click on the arrows to cycle through the letters.
I think Modwolf kind of spoke the voice of the community there. I think if we were to say poll that, not that we think it would pass, but it'd probably be at like 90% no. So
It could be our lowest ever voted poll question, though.
what is our lowest voted?
It was pretty low the time we offered to take away the cooking requirement from getting to trouble brewing and the quest requirements as well.
Easter event
We could
this
beat
year?
that.
Yes.
Yes, we've all just played it today.
It's good.
It's,
I liked
It
it.
is good.
I think we were pretty much done with it.
I didn't
Really?
find any flaws
Development
with it.
wise,
Yeah.
like a
Seemed
couple
pretty
of
false.
feedback from Day and the playthrough, and yeah,
It's your first Mod John C content for a while.
there's one coming.
Yes.
It's good. It's really good. It's really good.
All right, moving on. Harry says, can we get a peak option at the Monkey Madness 2 cave that is used for bursting/chinning?
Yeah, it's already on the list of future polls, actually.
Beautiful. Hess says, the ability to attach skill cape hoods to capes was brought up a long time ago. Could we see it actually polled?
The graphics time for that's quite substantial. I believe the dev time for that would be quite substantial as well.
Anything that currently works with skill capes would have to be recoded to handle the new versions of them and also to, accept them, like costume rooms in POH. I don't know what exactly would be required to rewrite those to handle the idea that your skill cape might now have the hood built into the item itself. Frankly, I wish it had been done like that in the first place, but it wasn't, and changing it retroactively is always a lot harder once players already have the items.
It would be a lot easier if we said we delete the hoods as objects and make all the capes have hoods on them all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes, that'd be
But-
easy.
Yeah, okay. I think people would still want to separate their hood again from their cape, wouldn't they? That'd be the
Probably.
issue.
Yeah, I'd see that one having a hard time passing.
Yeah.
That we could offer a lot easier though. So there's a throwback suggestion to them, I guess.
Or, to be honest, if the thing they really want is not the thing we can offer, and the thing that we can do instead doesn't interest them so much, maybe we'll find something else to poll.
Yeah,
They're not
that's
short
it.
of ideas.
Yeah.
Heck, we could fill a year's updates, I think, with just the things that got that screen, even if we eliminated the very foolish ones, like your idea.
Yes. There is I wouldn't necessarily say foolish. It's a great idea. on the screen there.
Maybe you're looking at a different one.
Can we have a pet farm in player-owned houses to grow pets and more? 4 question marks on that.
Oh, so essentially a death rune farm is what it would be, wouldn't it? You'd put like 8 kittens in there, grow them, and then take them out, and then give them to a man again.
I'm a little worried.
I don't
I'm
like
still
that.
not
I'm very worried about those cats being able to, farm with each other and breed more because they are all the offspring of Gertrude's one cat.
What is that guy doing? He buys it for
I don't know.
What's he doing with them?
Oh, there was an answer to that one a long time ago. Mod Dillon, he left the company long ago. The guy who wrote Underground Pass and Regicide and the Temple of Light, genius he was. He worked out that what must be going on is you've got these dwarves down at the Death Altar. Now, they can presumably get hold of death runes because they're down at the Death Altar. And they give you stew. And the guys up in West Ardoyne, they say, we've got death runes.
I know
the
where this is
dwarves
going.
bring them from the mines. So there's clearly some trade going on between the people on the surface getting death runes off the dwarves in exchange for something. So what could possibly be getting sent back in return that turns up in the dwarves area as stew that they give you in that quest? And obviously it's the cats.
I think you've just put many people off of trading their cats in for death runes. I don't know.
I mean, other than that, what else would you use this for?
Well,
What else would you use cats for?
No, I mean for growing. Sorry, not
Speaking
they
of a
say
pet
they want.
farm,
Yeah.
Mod Lottie bartered me earlier about some people who probably could do with one.
A cat farm.
She posted the longest skill pet dry rates.
Oh.
Someone's done 149 million woodcutting XP without getting the pet.
Oh my god.
And I think it's 130 million for mining or so. Those sort of numbers, and that's damn. That's a long time to go for a
Do we
pet.
give them names for that? Do we name and shame?
I said we should name and shame, but Mod
Yeah.
Lottie was like, no, we need to promote them for their dedication towards
I'd
their
be
skill
proud
in
of
killing.
that. Yeah, that's impressive. Well
Name
done.
and fame then.
Yeah, name and fame.
All right.
Sorry about RNG, guys.
We're going to get through some more questions. Let's do this.
For respect.
Before says, can we see a slight buff to random events based on total level? Right now, you only get the maze. Right now, only the maze random skills for total levels. Also, most randoms are absolutely useless and just get dismissed.
Well, technically the genie reward scales by whatever stat you want to use it on. But yeah, back in 2009 when I rewrote all the random events, I made the rewards scale off your skill total, among other things. That rewrite was quite a big one, of course. Rather than having each random give its own reward list, like Evil Twins got a selection of random gems, Prison Pete's got his herb. I think it's always the same herb or choice of 2 herbs, don't know why. And rather than them all having their own list, I made them all give a pink box that could remember what event it came from and what skill total you had when you got it, and based on that it would generate items for you and let you choose which one you wanted. It was a fairly big piece of code, but it was a good way of solving all the random event requirements all at once and having it scale on your skill total, and avoid the situation where there was only this one random event that gave a banknoted form of the grimy version of that herb or something.
What about the aggressive random events and giving them the ability to retoggle those into being something they can actually kill?
You know, bringing back that entire system with all its ties into so much content for the probably relatively small niche of people who would toggle it on does not feel like the best use of, a few days programming and testing time. I'd rather go with some of their other suggestions.
That's
to be
a fair
honest.
answer.
We left them in for nostalgia reasons, like the river golem, the river troll, and the rock golem. You find them in the Enchanted Valley. We can, of course, give them more thematic drops if people would like, and we left that shade thing down the Stronghold of Security.
All right. To stop the guy spamming in the chat and also spamming it last Q&A as well, I believe. He wanted to get your opinions on pineapple pizza. I've already said I don't like it.
Hate pineapple pizza.
There you go.
It's
Oh.
my favourite.
Oh.
I second that. Well, it's not my favourite, but
Tiebreaker,
it's
come on,
definitely very
Kieran.
good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good.
Tiebreaker it.
I want to know who first tried it.
It's Hawaiian.
Do you think? Do we put,
I don't think so.
I would put slices of orange on the pizza.
It's called Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
pineapple
because it was
pizza.
made in Hawaii.
Tropicana pizza,
Why
I think
not?
it might be called in other countries.
I think it's quite common to have gammon with pineapple, so maybe they just had ham and pineapple on a pizza because of that.
Well, the enzymes in pineapple will help digest the fairly tough gammon and make it a bit easier to chew and digest for you.
Okay.
Really?
So that's why you don't want to get pineapple juice on your hands. Like if you leave your hand in a vat of pineapple juice overnight,
I should do.
well, I don't, but the reason you don't is that the enzymes will actually start harming your flesh.
Oh.
I ate a whole pineapple once and it stripped the entire inside of my mouth so much it's just raw.
supposed to
I've
really
done that
hurt.
before.
Did you eat the spiky bits?
So you're just forcing it down. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I did salt and vinegar crisps, very strong ones. One time I was going through a full packet of them, and my mouth was just up on fire. This is the worst conversation.
Yes.
No, it's not as bad as the one we had upstairs before we came down, but we're not going there again. What's the next question from the players?
Pepperoni.
Wow, look at that. We have another question right here. Zamas says, can the Slayer skill cape have infinite teleports to previous Slayer master? Another skill cape one.
I really don't like that. I feel as though there is a level of that amount of time to get to your task is a part of Slayer. You know, you have your NPC contact if you don't want to go there already. It's already an alternative to not going back there.
But it's not. It is 99 Slayer. Like,
And the chap says no.
Okay, well,
I don't agree with it, but we could call it if we ever wanted to. And you know, I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's a bit too powerful.
I was just
really.
thinking, like, if you're still doing Slayer past that point, it makes sense that it would be more rewarding. But I can see both arguments. All right, moving on. Hess says, can we see a priority poll for major changes that need to be done for other features to be implemented? For example, Mod Wolf mentioned that any brewing suggestions couldn't be implemented until the farming code was fixed.
Really?
In all fairness, let me retract that statement and say that a little bit better. I mentioned that it's substantially more likely that we would work on brewing stuff after we have looked into farming code, as brewing code is plugged into that.
Certainly, if we were going to do a new feature in brewing and players actually cared about what rate it happened at, they might want us to do what we're trying to do to the farming timer first, rather than launch the feature with a bizarre timer. Because also, how do you balance for that anyway? Oh yeah, about that. I've been working in my, the personal project time. I've been trying to rewrite our farming timer. I've actually got the core algorithm done already, and I'm starting to work on replacing the tie-ins for each patch with my new thing, which would hopefully mean that whatever you do in terms of logging in, logging out, shaking it all about, your patches grow at a predictable rate. Now, what this will do to XP rates, I can't really say, given the way farming has been for the last decade, but hopefully you'd be okay with whatever you get from it.
For the record, that was the actual real reason that I told that player. Because I knew, obviously, he was working on the farming timer already.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say that because I didn't know if he wanted it announced yet. But now that he's announced it, I can go ahead and say the reason I said we're more likely to work on the system it's based off of first is because we're kind of doing that.
Well, that makes sense. And I would personally be quite uncomfortable launching a new brewing feature in the current timer because, well, you guys know what it's like for brewing.
I don't think they do.
No, it's essentially farming, but worse.
Imagine the content that's probably complained about the most. That's what it's like.
It's up there.
Like the Lord Hopper.
I admit it, it's like if we go and add a feature to it, we're encouraging people to go and interact with content that isn't nice to interact with at the minute, and improving that first, and then trying to make brewing more useful than beers that boost your stats by less than the easy to get potions isn't great.
It'll have its time. One day.
I'm excited you've announced that now. That's actually a really big deal,
Like,
by the way. I'm surprised at the lack of pog champing in the chat. 'Cause
There
that is
was- there was
incredible.
some PogChamps.
There
There
was?
was some PogChamps.
Okay, good.
But like, I
There's a
love
few.
that big brewing suggestion that's been thrown around a few times.
Yeah.
Especially like having your own vat in your house. I think that's so awesome. Like having your own pub room is cool.
The fun thing about that is if we did it in-house, we might not actually tie it to the normal game farming timer.
That's true.
But of course, if we get a nice game farming timer, then maybe we'd be able to without it sucking.
All right. Fuzzy says, can we get a free-to-play bounty hunter? This would be, there would be limits, of course, but free-to-play is missing money-making methods. Well, in comparison to pay-to-play, it is certainly missing.
What's in the reward shop that's free to play?
Rune.
Not rune arrows.
The rune
No,
pouch
just
easily
rune
could.
body. armor.
Yeah.
The rune pouch.
No, I was just saying the rune pouch.
I mean,
could
we
be-
could throw like.
They have runes.
Gilded
they
in
have
there,
a pouch
but-
to put them in.
I mean, it's worth keeping in mind. Can you peek? You can, no, no, man.
I'm not against it. If it highlights, if it
No.
makes free-to-play PKing easier to get into and makes it more worthwhile, like it does in members, pretty much the majority of players will go and PK in Bounty Hunter Worlds.
Right.
I don't see that as a bad thing at all.
I wouldn't say it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Given that it is PvP related, I'd see it having a harder time passing a pull, but
I'd just be
it'd be
cautious
nice.
of putting the rune pouch in.
We don't have to
No.
put them in Magic. Everything that's still could stay members only. That's members
Yeah.
already. It just gives them a different way to get the emblems and play around with that.
get
Maybe
enough
if there
points that if they do become a member, they've got a ton of points to spend.
For that matter, there's a few things in there that are cosmetic repaint items, and while those tend to be things like the whip and the dark bow, we could do it to some free-to-play items as well. If, well, a bit more graphics time on required, of course, for a decent cosmetic upgrade, but we certainly can.
All right.
People are mentioning emblem farming. That is something that we are trying to address.
Yeah.
I'll say something now. It's something that we're going to start taking matters into our own hands with. We're going to start taking action against anybody who's trying to do it. There's a lot of people who have these incredible exaggerated perceptions that it is botted into oblivion and it makes this much money. It's not true. Modweth and I, we were looking at it the other day and we were saying, oh, well, this guy is on X accounts trying to do this right now. This is definitely not allowed. Let's start taking care of this. We've got a feature we're working on in the background. Obviously can't go into details, but it is something that we're going to be taking care of very shortly. And it won't be something you'll be seeing in the wilderness. If it is, you'll get to report it and we'll take care of it.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Dank says, can we have a way to distinguish full water skins and other variations of water skins? Also, can you stop them from jumping to the first slot in your inventory after taking a sip?
Yes.
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 Nice. And recoloring them as well?
Nice.
Nice.
Well, we can either recolour it or actually have the shape changed. It would be easier to recolour so that the thing becomes kind of blue when it's full of water and not when it's not. Although you might find yourself peering at it for quite a while.
I don't know, can we borrow the graphics time to change the water skin to blue?
Yeah, you can. I'll change the models. It's just easier, isn't it? Just then you can see straight away from the silhouette of it.
Nice.
So yeah, we can do that.
All right. People says, is there going to be a Well of Goodwill this year?
Anyone know?
I do not know.
I don't think
Ronan
so.
shrugging.
As usual, if we do decide to do a charity event at some point, that's generally when we open it. But I don't believe there's anything on planned right now.
We're quite busy at the moment. We might be looking to save something like that for when we have a drier month, but we'll see. All right.
Also, if we do another charity event, this mug will be off. If we do another charity auction, this mug will be in it.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Wow. Oh.
And
There
we
we go.
can, we
That-
can
that-
potentially get some more stuff like this. Of course,
How much would you pay for Mod Ash's? Why are you squeak? Chris,
That was
What are you
awful.
doing?
How much would you?
how much money would you pay for Mod Ash's mug? That's what I want to know. In the chat, type how much money you would pay for Mod Ash's cup.
I
Mug.
should mention it's a bit stained on the inside because it had tea in it. a
That
lot.
just adds value.
It
That
had
doesn't
something.
remove it.
I'll put it through a washing machine or something.
so this is not the one we are sending to Dead Wilson for winning the fastest fight capes time. We sent off another one,
Just in case he's wondering.
just in case he's wondering. If he's watching the stream, like, you said you sent that. I did send
We've
it.
got two of them. Awesome. Or we had two of them.
This is another one. I don't know if we can have, I don't even know where these come from, to be honest, but if we can have more of these made, these would be an awesome thing to give away for charity. We do have a pair of dragon claws that look just as awesome. We can give those away.
I think there's just one person that we commissioned for all of this.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get him to work, or her. All right. Let's move on to the next question then. Alfie says, last week my herb sack accepting clean herbs idea was shot down. We said we don't want the herb sack to accept clean herbs. All right. He says, but what about an upgraded herb sack which will make it auto-clean herbs that are put into it? Would require 75 herb lore, the highest level to clean any herbs, as well as money and slayer points.
Would it not give you experience?
No, I would guess not, at least.
kind of like it then.
I'm just trying to imagine how it would work. Like, you get a bar of soap, you use it on the herb pouch to upgrade it, and at that point, anything you put in it becomes clean.
I just you pay with some Slayer points, and the Slayer Master has magic that does the thing.
Computer
Good
says
lord.
no.
Yeah.
That computer says a lot of stuff.
Would you really want to sacrifice your XP for that?
I don't. Yeah, I don't necessarily think you pick
Really?
up the herbs
It's
to get the
minuscule
experience.
But still, it's like every little counts. If you're there for like a month doing herb lore, then it will add up, won't it?
I want you to get 99 herb lore by just picking up Slayer drops and then come back to me in a week.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying though.
I
I'd
don't
want
think
the
he'll be
XP.
back in a week from that.
It devalues my 99 herb lore Slayer only pure.
Mod Kieran, when will you post the Slayer Waitings chart? I'll work on that tomorrow. It's been a while since we published like the Slayer data, and the last time we did, it was in the middle of a big rework where I was sending back and forth different charts to the community to get one people were happy with. So there's a bit of confusion about which one's even the final one. And going through my files on my computer, I can't even tell. So I'd like to work on a nicer one that shows them all for all the different masters as well.
That would also clear up the ambiguity about whether Duradel gives Scabarites or Scarabites. Duradel does not and never has done. We checked. I mean, we checked the records. In Old School, he never has. That must have come to RS3 at a later date or something.
Yeah, looking at my spreadsheets, there's one proposed document that said Duradel would get Scabarites. The reason being is because I knew it was a good XP task. But
That was a question here.
with the next iteration, we decided, no, we're getting rid of Scabarites from Duradel.
What
So-
was the question?
Could
He, does he, should he?
Can you post his updated? Where is it? I wish I just had Control F in
His
real life.
list
There it is.
of
I can see it.
creatures?
Can we get the updated Slayer task overview from Duradel?
Yeah, as I said,
There you go.
I'll work on posting them all tomorrow, all 6 masters.
Oh. And
Interestingly, before we did that big rework, the way it used to work was so much worse than the way it works now. Originally, so actually you go to Neve, for example, and it has a table with loads of creatures. Essentially, you go there, it says 1 in 10 chance you get
Gargoyles.
gargoyles. If you don't get that, there's a 1 in 10 chance you get elves. If you don't get that, there's a 1 in 10 chance you get bloodveld, and so on. It just goes down this list. And you get to the bottom, and there's ones which are basically incredibly rare to get, because you've got to get through all these other chances first.
Yeah.
Now, it works on weightings, so we assign weightings to all the tasks, and it picks one fairly from that, and it's a lot nicer.
Since, of course, if it was a 1 in 10 chance for all of them straight down the chart, then that would give a very, very severely reduced chance of getting to the bottom. So what they were doing back in those days was saying the first few on the list, it's a 1 in 10 chance for the first item, or the second, or the third. Then it's a 1 in 9 chance of the next one, a 1 in 9 chance of the next one, and then a 1 in 8 chance, the 1 in 8 chance, 1 in 8 chance. And by the time you get to the bottom, it's a 1 in 1 chance, so that you were guaranteed to get something if you got all the way to the bottom of the list.
But then they had to have like
6.
yes, they had to have 6 100% chances, because if you would block a specific task, it would then have to go, okay, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one, because all like those
Yep.
5 are blocked, and it would go, okay, this is the one you're getting. I think cows from Turiel was like the rarest Slayer assignment in the world.
Wyverns was one of the big ones what we had to change, because you basically just couldn't get it as a task.
Also, I think they were only on Vanica and not on any of the higher level ones,
Yeah.
which came as a big surprise if you... yes.
I don't think anyone ever spreadsheeted it back then.
Well, the thing is, it also depends on the order that they were written in the table. So when players say, what's the chance of, getting black dragons from Duradel? The answer was, well, like 10 minutes of work and math.
Yes, it was.
These days, they've all got relative weightings, a nice, straightforward system, based on what was done in RS3, by the way. I didn't design the code myself for this one, because I didn't need to. And it's a lot easier to give you relative weightings of things. And if you haven't unlocked a given task, well, you just eliminate their weightings, and the math becomes straightforward still.
Right. Let's see if we can quick fire through some of these questions.
In that case, the answer will be sure if the community wants it.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Can you
pointless.
fix a clipping bug with the Majorina Cape and Ancestral?
if the community wants it?
Next question.
I want it.
Wait, what was it? Sorry?
Clipping bug with the Ancestral and the Majorina capes.
Okay, alright.
Is that the ancestral ropes?
Yeah.
I can have a look at it.
Okay.
Might have to see what the render order is on the that cape.
Has it got shoulder pads?
I don't think so.
no,
No,
not
not for
that
those
much.
capes.
Should
No,
be all right
they're
then.
fairly
This
tiny.
quick fire's slowing down.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Can I let it go?
Can the
Quality
healer
or quantity?
Quality.
can the healer hat from Barbarian Assault give immunity from poison when worn?
If the community wants it, sure. In all seriousness, that is the legit answer to that question.
It's not even a meme. It's like a real answer.
It
Like
can
yes.
very easily.
What is your opinion on it
Okay.
personally?
Well, that's a
Do you want a
long
quick
one.
fire yes nos on if we want it personally?
Sure.
Okay.
And
If-
then if there's like one person who does and the others don't, we debate.
Okay.
And we
All right.
fight.
Sure thing. Kieran, you start.
Read the question again.
The healer hat from Barbarian Assault give immunity from poison. Would not inflict and would not also stop venom. Only
So
poison.
just poison, not venom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know, but I think the female healer hat should have the same model as the male, so it's not sat high on her head.
That's not even
Wow.
the question.
Agreed.
Well,
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not.
true.
Sorry.
Okay. Can Old School get an in-game name changer like RuneScape 3?
We'd love one very much. We'll have to see what the engine team can do, though, because there's apparently that's not just an easy thing to copy out of their code base and paste into ours and expect it to work straight away. They've been looking into it for us because it's pretty obvious why we would want one. And it would also, I hope, work for those people on the Dead Man world.
Yeah.
But we can't be sure that they're going to be able to give it to us in the time we'd like it.
All right. Melissa says, when banking multiple of the same item, can you make it so that the one you click is the one banked and not the topmost one? Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like this has a hard time going down well in a poll, to be honest.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I have a full
A lot
inventory.
of people are used to doing that to get rid of
Yeah.
certain
Well,
ones
here's the
quickly.
thing. If I've got a lot of stuff in my bank and I want to just deposit a few, then clicking a slot and being able to click in the same place to have them all go suits me a little bit better than having to move my mouse around from slot to slot. On the other hand, clearly some player feels differently. So obviously we see a toggle coming up. The thing about that is that we don't really want to have to put extra exceptions into the middle of the bank code to work in completely different ways based on this slightly obscure toggle thing, because that's the kind of thing that makes your code impossible to maintain and very heavy on the server.
Right.
Anywho, if the community wants it,
I think you've made a valid point that
they
it's
said no quite a lot. By the
probably
way.
not our most pressing incident. So, can Play vs. Player Worlds get a kill-death ratio tracker?
Yes, I'd like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Can favor be implemented as a requirement for the Inferno? This is obviously assuming we're putting it in Zaya.
If we went with it on there, I don't think it really makes sense because it's not part of Kourend. It's a different settlement. It is not related to Lava King, for example.
Yeah.
Despite the fact it isn't near Lava King.
But if the players would like it and they'd still like it in the Zara area, then they can have it.
Wow, this is a spicy meme today.
I missed the start of the stream and I'm gutted. So I actually need to know the information that you gave the players on
You can rewatch it.
I
And
can.
the information will be going
What was
out
the
at deadline
TLDR? We
tomorrow.
basically just said we have seen the Reddit post of the player designed map. It's something we're considering, but we're not making any promises at the moment. Did we say anything else?
We were
Really?
making a dev blog for tomorrow,
Yeah.
and we've been discussing the changes.
You'll learn more about it tomorrow.
Potential changes.
That's cool. Sorry for interrupting.
It's all right.
Oh, how? Mod Ghost is lovely.
All right. Where are we here? Seven says, can a dark bow be attached to the twisted bow, giving it the same special attack with 1,000 spices?
He actually just spit on the floor.
I actually just spat everywhere. Sorry.
I thought you were laughing at the question.
I don't know. Let's not.
Like, so he has like 5,000 dark bows in his bank right now. Come on, say yes, please. Like, I can see him on the computer right now. I can envision him in front of this computer.
Being excited, yes.
Being very excited, yes.
Excellent suggestion. Dual wheeled.
Dual wheel.
Dual wield
Because you
twisted
hold a bow
bow.
in his hand,
Kimbo
and then you can't actually fire an arrow because you've got a bow in both hands and you can't draw the strings back.
Use your feet.
That'd be awesome.
He could use.
I don't want to be a laugh at this guy's legit.
yeah, sorry.
I don't want to laugh at this guy's legit suggestion, but
You just made a
combining
very
items
powerful
in that
enemy.
way sort of defeats the point of having the two different items. And
Yeah.
the dark bow serves its purpose, and the twisted bow already has a lot of purpose. It doesn't really need to
That's very fair. What are your predictions for day one of the Infernal release, and will it be harder than the Alm?
It's way harder than the Arm. This is truly down to the spirit of what the fight games is. Originally, you go to Jet, you make one mistake, you die. That is fundamentally what the Inferno would recreate. Jet has become easier over the years.
Which is also not the case with Ulm, because if that thing kills you, you walk back in again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, like with Inferno, it's the sum of its parts. It's not just one NPC that you have to fight. It's
a wave and wave of creatures.
Yeah.
There's endurance involved, and then the final challenge at the end.
Predictions with day one, I think if raids, and it did, when we released raids, we had swarms of complaints saying this is way too difficult, you better make this easier or I'm quitting. Like, within, 4 hours or so? How long did it take for somebody to finally complete it? It wasn't that long,
No,
but
not
up
long at
until
all.
that point, everybody thought it was like impossibly difficult. This is going to be 100 times more difficult than that, so
I'm
fun
very
with that.
happy with where the
100?
difficulty
You're
is
putting
of
a number
raids,
on it.
really.
Whew. They won't complete it for a year.
Oh, you have to say that.
Well, we can certainly ensure that if we program it to be impossible.
All right. James, is there any way to be hidden from the high scores? He says his advantage in player versus player is ruined because other people can look up his stats.
We don't currently have an option for that, and I'd have fairly mixed feelings about about a high score table where half the players on it were missing, especially if they might decide to pop back into existence again and shove the whole thing down by thousands.
Right.
I don't like it.
Okay. Oh, we're out of time. Oh, geez. All right. Let's do. Do we have the 2 images? I believe. Let's get through these suggestions at least. So the first one's from Runite Miner. He says, suggestion: zip line from the redwoods to the bank. It would be a tentacle sink and a one-way only.
That's going to look hilarious for players who haven't built it, and they'll just see people kind of hang gliding on something that isn't there. I won't do the actions if we're not looking.
Okay. So
I
maybe.
love the idea of adding
Yeah.
the animal.
As an idea, that's
How about
really
the
cool.
rope is there, or the whatever we decide to call it, and you use the tentacle as the thing that you hold on to swoop down,
And that breaks your tentacle.
Like, as an
and
idea,
it breaks at the bottom of it.
that's really cool. But again, it's one of those things that's like, it's a really cool idea, but somebody snuck in this, I'm just going to buy 25,000 tentacle whips before they talk about this
Well,
on the stream.
tentacles are dirt cheap, and
They
they
are
need to
pretty
be
cheap.
improved.
The tentacle sort of looks like a horn. To be
So,
honest.
somebody said, I read the thread on Reddit as well, and somebody said, can you have a circle that you use to go down? I'm not kidding, and I was like,
Okay,
but it's a good idea though.
As for a faster method from the redwoods to the bank, any
I
gameplay
don't
being
think
broken there?
Headwood needs an easier way to get to the bank. To
Funny
be honest.
thing is, if we do that woodcutting skill cake perk, and it's a teleport to the woodcutting guild to upstairs at the redwood tree, then it's a shortcut from the bank back to the tree, which achieve about the same thing as the shortcut from the tree to the bank. So that might be a way of killing all these birds with one stone for the people with top woodcutting.
Doesn't give a higher price to the tentacle, unfortunately, but I think we're kind of stretching with this one. It's an interesting idea, and
Maybe
it's a
next
cool
time we had a
image.
farming patch, the farmer will want paying in tentacles.
Tentacle
and
whips.
circles.
All right. Next suggestion we had was from Art, who says Prospector G, so gold trimmed, using golden nuggets.
What do you think about that, Gareth? Mod Ghost, sorry.
I actually like the colours. I think they're nice. I think it goes well. I've got a pair of Wellingtons that are green with a yellow trim around the top. Reminds me of those.
Yes.
The graphical feedback when Modreach first made the Prospector outfit, because he was about the only person in the team at the time who could handle the model head, so I certainly couldn't. And he had a go at making the Prospector outfit. And somebody came and looked at it and had to say, I'm afraid the female version of this costume doesn't look very feminine, because women have 2 boobs, not 1 big one.
Oh, did he do the thing like where there's a tight top and it kind of just kind of creates a unified shape across the chest?
It was kind of central, and it wasn't shaped like any human I have met.
I really don't want a picture on Reddit of me pulling my t-shirt out. Doing
That's
that
top
That is
Reddit
gonna happen
right now.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, congrats on the meme.
Yeah, meme of the month, congratulations.
All right.
I said unified form. I didn't say. Never mind.
Sorry to keep you guys. We're going to do one last question because I said I would ask this today. Can the Trident's charges be up to 10k?
They can. I'm pretty sure there's data space on the thing for that.
We asked this
Birthdays,
some time
yeah.
ago, and
And I think
forget
wanted
what we
to-
said.
Well, I think we wanted to look into what would happen to somebody who'd got a half-charged Trident when the update went out. And we still would want to, but I'm optimistic that what the answer is will probably be okay. They
long as
might
it's-
find that they've lost a lot of charge or they've gained a lot of charges, but that's a one-off. That would be hilarious if somebody goes and fills their bank with half-charged Tridents just on the off chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Panic by Trident.
That is going to conclude our stream today, guys. Well, thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week.
Before we end, isn't it?
Goodbye.
No? Kieran's birthday?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah? It's Kieran's actual birthday today. Can we just get a clapper in the chat?
nice one.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Sorry.
But I'm like, it's his actual birthday
He
today,
doesn't
not
look
just a
very
meme.
happy, though.
Shall we sing to
You have no idea it's actually my birthday, not because of the memes.
And like, no, it's actually his birthday though today. Like, for real.
Well done on being born.
Really, Jay.
Nice one.
to your mother
Keep it
on
up.
her great
Well
achievements.
done. Congratulations. Happy
job.
birthday.
Congratulations, I live one more year.
All right, now you can do it.
As Gnome Child said in the 4th birthday event, a birthday is just a yearly reminder that as soon as you're born, you're dying. Goodbye.